All right. Well, I absolutely had to wait until the chorus of that song. It's the first one on my allowed to stream, not DMCA playlist, and I've become quite partial to it. But we're not going to dwell on it for too long today because we have with us a guest. A guest now and some guests shortly. So bear with the half empty setups there. Say hello to Brendo. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, howdy, hello everybody. How we doing?
And welcome to Session 0. The second episode of Session 0, although we're still in the negatives if it comes to gameplay. Brendo is here today as the first of our players to jump on board and roll a character. We will be joined shortly by Kitty, who hopefully has more luck with her connection this week. There was steam coming out of her head by the end of last time, so hopefully that works a little bit nicer. I will give you the quick warning. It is altogether possible that stuff will go wrong tonight because this is the first time we've trialed doing it this way. If you don't like it, tell us. If you like it, tell us as well. So, Brendo, what do you think is going to go on tonight? Where are we going to get?
So, I think we'll definitely get through my idea. I've been thinking about it all day. I'm pretty keen to see what Kitty's come up with when she does come in. Just to get done so we can get playing.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna do a bit of a self-spoil here. I can pop up to Session 0 here. And if I just bring this little guy out, that is the continent.
Wow.
That is the continent upon which we are going to set things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, I wonder whether there might be ice in this beverage because it looks far too full. Now, I know it's Monday, and usually I don't rep other beverages, but I got Black Hops Hazy IPA for my aperitif this evening. Prost.
Nice. Simple yet effective.
The Hop Man stopped by yesterday, and he's a good friend of mine from down the south of WA. And he is a beer farmer. That is, he grows hops for a living and is starting his own brewery. So whenever he visits, he brings tasty, tasty beers, and I get to sample them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And all, therefore, is right with the world. All right, what's our update? Kitty has said that the PC has decided that now is update time. So we'll be waiting a little while. So I say we get into things.
Let's do it.
Now, do you have any plans for overlapping with Kitty's story, or is that just going to be dependent on what happens?
I'm easy to be flexible. I can fit in wherever I'm needed. Excellent. But I know, if I remember right from our last stream, she kind of had a set idea of what she wanted to do. So I'm thinking I'll see what her plan is, and we'll go from there.
Fantastic. All right then. Well, I hope that some of the rest of the group tunes in at some stage today. And if they do, I'm going to assume that we just make it that the characters don't know what's going on if we do. So we have to act surprised if something special and secret pops out of the bag. If you think it's something that should stay in the dark from the other players, just let us know, and we might ask them to, if they're around, ask them to pop off for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got 2 drinks going on. My wife just brought me a cup of tea. So I'm mixing my teas and my beers at the moment. Brewed drinks nonetheless.
I got to try this coffee beer when I was in Fremantle.
Ooh.
This weekend, actually. And it was different. Coffee. It was definitely very bitter.
Like a coffee stout?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've always struggled with stouts, especially the ones with coffee and chocolate, but never so much as the ones that have got lactose in it, so they taste milky.
Yeah, oh no, that's just a sin.
Hard to get used to. Although I did used to say that about sours, and now quite partial.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it may surprise you by the, based on the giant dice in the middle of the screen there, to know this is not a beer tasting stream. This is a Dungeons and Dragons stream. And as such...
The beer review podcast comes later on.
Exactly right. So that considered, we are going to set up our little screen here. I'm going to jump into my campaigns. And we will view campaign. There we go.
So,
Formosus Lafayette. Let's see how this works.
Yeah.
Alright, character not ready. The current character is not accessible because it is missing either in racial class or ability scores. Return to the character builder. Now I think I'll have to reset every time you make an update, but I can see manage XP is done there.
Yep.
So
I'll jump to XP.
I'll jump into your home for starters. Formosus Lafayette we've got. Is that a standard name? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's quite funky. So the theme of this is that I'm going to be a Glamour Bard, and I'm going to be a tiefling. But the idea is that with my infernal lineage, when I was born, my parents were like, demon baby, what are we going to do with it? We are just going to take it off to the forest and leave it there.
Right.
As, suspicious peasants are known to do. And obviously, lots of fae hiding around in the forest.
Only one suspicious parent, though, one would have to assume. A Jingle Bell Rogue, says Giggle Fairy. Can rely on Giggle Fairy to come in with some lols on any character idea. Sorry, I interrupted your backstory. Continue.
That's all right. So the idea is that, so either my parents or someone made a deal with the devil, and I'm the result of that deal, and they kind of left me in the forest to be like, I don't want to deal with this. And then some fae being has kind of picked me up and gone, baby, it's so ugly and weird. I'm going to keep it. So in my mind, I believe that I am like a fairy fae being, when actually I'm this infernal demon spawn. So because he's been raised to be this glamorous bard and knows all this fae magic, he just perceives himself as this enchanted fae being that goes around and grants wishes and just has a great time doing it. Very chaotic good-esque. When obviously there's that underlying, if people go, wizards will be like, no, you're a tiefling, you're a demon. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I am a fairy.
I love it. You went away for a second there.
I vanished. I'm back.
Oh, you're back. I think if I jump out of the screen, you stop making noise. That's not ideal. Anyway, I do have a question.
Good.
I do have a question about that lineage. Have you perhaps in the past studied A Midsummer Night's Dream? Because it sounds like you are the changeling child over whom Titania and Oberon, King and Queen of the Fairies, fought, and from hence came the distemper of the realm.
I have not. But that's kind of cool that it is a thing. I assume that somewhere down the line, it's definitely a cool thing and a cool trope to play into.
Dinra TV has joined the party. Thank you very much. Get your fingers into the chat there, Dinra, and tell us how we're doing it wrong. That's what I want to see. Or how we're doing it right. I mean, no promises we'll listen either way, but update our story.
Yeah.
If it's good, we probably will, let's be honest. And I'll take it and pretend it's mine. Although I will actually try and remember who had the ideas that I steal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's still...
have to put a bibliography on our character sheets for all our edits and additions.
100%. So in the second scene of the Midsummer Night's Dream, we front up into the forest, and there the King of the Fairies, Oberon, and the Queen of the Fairies, Titania, run into each other, and they're like, oi, what are you doing here? Oi, what are you doing here? But they're both in the realm to see the wedding between Theseus and Hippolyta, the Duke and soon-to-be Duchess of Athens, while the children who are fighting for love are going to run off into the forest. And they've met up because they've sort of by the fate them together, but they're not talking. They're not talking to each other because Titania had a voutress of her order, as the bard says it. Who became pregnant, died in childbirth, and she's raising this child. So she's taken this child as a changeling and turned him into a fairy and is raising him. Oberon, being the dude fairy, is like, I want it. Give it to me. It could be a soldier. Obviously, sexual undertones because people think they're smart when they study Shakespeare. However, give him to me. I want him to be a knight of my order. And she's like, yeah, nah, he's mine. I found him. off your pop. And, so they have a fight, and because of that, seasons don't change. There you go. You have learned Shakespeare tonight.
Nice. And you know what? We could totally dive into those Shakespearean tragedy aspects. I'd be so keen.
Excellent. Dirty 20. What do you think? Do you believe that we are talking trash already? Because if you say yay, I dare say you'd be right.
Probably.
Anyway, so we've got our Glamour Bard for Moses Lafayette, a tiefling who was left in the forest and thinks they're a fairy.
Yeah. We're starting at level 1, aren't we?
Start at level 1, but you probably find that you're not going to be there very long. We'll be at level 2 definitely by the end of the first session. I think the aim is by the end of this first real session, we'll be at level 2 or 3 because we'll do a sort of early one to try and drop things out. Now, it looks like we're just seeing...
My head. Bloop. I have headbutted.
There we go. I think that'll be Kitty joining us.
Oh, Kitty's here.
Kitty is here in box so far. Oh, and voice. Welcome.
Yeah, can you hear me then?
We can hear you indeed.
Hello.
I'm in a different location, so hopefully my connection will be a lot better this week.
Fantastic. Lovely to have you aboard. We were just talking about Brendo's idea.
I'm basically a Shakespeare rip-off.
Yeah, so...
oh, fun.
I know.
Accidentally.
So when you say...
I had no idea until just now, so I just ripped him off and then learn about it. So it's great.
So you're
best way
basically...
to learn about history, right?
You're basically every writer, playwright, and filmmaker for the last 450 years, according to any academic.
Yeah.
Pretty much every artist goes through the same process, though, of creating something, then being told they've ripped it off someone else. So,
My question...
And let's be honest, Shakespeare ripped off a lot of, other things. So it's all just borrowed.
Who actually said it to Shakespeare? Do you know? He's imagine him sitting there sucking back an ale at the Globe, and someone comes up and goes, "Oi, Bill, that was mine." It's like 14th century Coldplay ripoff.
It's like, just to go onto this side tangent before I roll for my stats very stressfully, isn't there that idea that Shakespeare was multiple writers?
Yeah, and
there is a theory about that, yeah.
There's a theory he was the Queen of England, so there's a theory he's Elizabeth I.
Oh, right.
I don't know.
Giggle
Fairy. Oh, sorry, go on, Kitty.
Old Lizzie got bored.
I was just going to make a joke that I'm not against the idea of Shakespeare being a queen.
Well done.
Hey,
I love it. You know what?
Lame.
As David Tennant said in Doctor Who, 6 out of 9 academics just punch the air, because there's plenty of rumors or plenty of quote research unquote to say that. I don't know much about the lifestyle of many 450-year-old dead people, so I'll just teach it.
All right, I'm stressed. Let's do some rolls. Okay.
Alrighty.
So.
I agree, Giggle Fairy. The greatest artists tend to admit their theft. I like that. All right, so we're going to pop across.
Oh! It actually throws dice on the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, thank God it does the counting for me.
Did it come up on our? Did it come up on our screen?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you have a look.
Still opening up things. Sorry.
That's all.
Very disorganized.
Doesn't look like it has yet.
I'm getting the numbers up there, so...
So we've got a 12.
We've got a 12.
And then we've got a...
Oh, you've gone to the whole screen again.
Ooh, I'm everywhere and I'm nowhere.
Okay, well, you keep rolling there, and I keep refreshing.
Giggles. Most theories that Shakespeare is not actually the author of his works tend to be rooted in the elitist attitude he was born too poor to have such a big brain.
Yeah, fair call.
I think there's just a lot of cultural borrowing and influence from,
just across the board.
Well, anytime you are influenced by, say, a particular myth from a certain culture, there's always going to be, this element, obviously, of crossover, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily ripping them off. It's just like, well, I'm telling the story of this myth. And well, yeah, okay, it's going to have similar elements to anyone else who has previously written something based on the same myth. So, of course, there's going to be, that kind of crossover with influences.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, we've just chosen Shakespeare as our, Eurocentric English history one. He's the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy. Yeah, Giggle Fairy. You put it well there. Yeah, I agree. Doing well, which is great because I didn't want everyone to see me take pity on the player first time and go, "Those rolls are rubbish." Let's be
These rolls. But these rolls are so good. I'm so happy.
All right, let's see what that last one was because I'm sure you've rolled it.
Roll 20 or?
No, we're on D&D Beyond, so it's up.
You're on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, just up,
cool.
And I'm just refreshing Brendo's character every time he rolls, just so it can come up on the screen. So
on the stream.
That last one, there we go. It's a 10. So are you rolling those in that order, or are you going to adjust those around? Oh no, you've already put them in.
I'll probably adjust them around. I'm not gonna lie.
Just
to,
Okay, so at the moment, with what I can see, we've got a 10 in strength, we've got 15 dex, 13 con, 17 intelligent, normal wisdom of 12, and a charisma of 17. I like the wisdom low if you think you're a fairy. So
I don't know any better.
You're smart enough to know better, but your wisdom means you haven't noticed yet.
And why would, my fairy mum, as far as I know, she's my mum. She raised me. She says I'm a fairy. Why not?
Fantastic.
And she would know. She would know better than anyone that I know. So.
Okay, so the bonuses on a tiefling are what? It's charisma, isn't it? Charisma plus 2, wisdom plus 1. So that ups your wisdom to 13 and gives you to 19. So at level 4, if you don't take a feat, which I'm totally going to allow, we'll see that one going up to max nice and early, I'd imagine.
I'm an entertainer.
Okay, so are you in description now?
Yes. So I make my living these days as a lowly level 1, and you're right, Giggle Fairy Mama does know best. Because I feel like I was thinking charlatan, but he's like an unknowing charlatan in a way because he is convinced he's a fairy, even though he's obviously not. So I like the idea he makes his money obviously going to taverns and performing and being like, "Hi, I'm a fairy. Yeah, cool. I'll do birthday parties and all this kind of stuff. Pay me lots of money, charming lots of people."
I love the idea that he comes in going, "I'm a fairy," and everyone's like, "He's not Barry. Just let him have his thing."
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah, nobody's been.
It's all part of the act. yeah, that's it. Or they just go, "Oh, it's just part of his act." Bards are weird like that.
100%. Excellent. Now, what else have we got? I'm just going to pop through here. So we've got Hellish Resistance, Ability Scores, Legacy of Thergothoth. What's that now? Friends. Cantrip. All right, we've sorted all those out. Optional feature manager. I'm just going to pop in there quickly. I'm going to allow you to use the additional bard spells.
Yay!
If a creature has bardic inspiration die from you and casts a spell that restores hit points or deal damage, you can roll that die and choose to take it for a spell.
I think I've got to that bit yet.
Well, let's do them. You know what? If D&D says that they're an option, which I think they mainly came out in the latest one, the
Tasha's?
No, I think it might have been Tasha's, but I think it was the Ravenloft.
Oh, okay, cool.
But either way, if they say they're there, whatever, we'll work around it.
Yeah, we'll sort it out.
Now, bards a little bit different with spells, aren't they? So they don't get to re-choose every morning. They have to choose and stick with them. But
Yep.
I believe there's the optional rule as well that you can get rid of them. Like you can change them at level.
Yeah, I think you can swap 1 or 2 or some form of modifier, like up to some modifier, you can then swap them out.
Yeah. But it's at level, so when you get a new spell available, you can do X number plus 1. So I'll read up on that because I can't remember. It's been a while since I played a bard.
I should be okay. I'm going for lots of enchantment and illusion magic.
Nice.
So I'll probably just find the spells that work and then just kind of pre-plan it so that I'm not having to rack my brain figuring out what spells I need / want.
Fantastic. And you're a player of the viol.
Yeah, I think I can play 4 or 5 instruments now. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
I've taken the flute for my starting equipment because I feel like that's quite, like satyrs and stuff always have flutes and that kind of thing stereotypically.
Fantastic. Have you filled that stuff in or not yet?
I think so. It's kind of gone, yep, we're done. Good stuff. And then it's gone, I'm now looking at my character sheet in full.
Okay, well, let's do that as well then. Now, are you still with us, Kitty? I've seen you pop in and out there. I don't know if you can hear us at the moment.
I know she's dropped out of the Discord, which is a shame.
Yes. Basically, you gain 1 spell. You also get to swap out 1 if you want. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Giggle Fairy.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Alrighty, so a couple of good little bonuses there. The 4 on Charisma is definitely going to help with a Charisma spell cast.
And
now, let's go into the less simple setup. D&D Beyond makes this super, super easy to do in the first part. However, if we pop into description,
yes,
we've got some options. Now, are you going to just take the basic personality traits and flaws and ideals, or are you going to make your own?
I like to make my own most of the time. Like, I'll use the graph as a reference point, but I do like to make my own.
Excellent. The alignment, as far as I'm concerned, is the Pirates Code style, more a set of guidelines.
Yeah.
So I don't care too much about that. We're not, I think, playing an overtly evil character campaign because in our previous discussion we decided that was lame. We're all going to be heroes, but you can be heroic, chaotic, neutral if you find the motivation. So I'm up for that. But aside from that, I'm going to... do you want to tell us a bit about the characteristics of the character? Rather than filling that out on screen, tell us what you're thinking. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What do we got going on for our tiefling?
So style-wise of the outfit, I'm thinking very like Vistani or Romanary Gypsy from Curse of Strahd. So it's very colourful and like a lot of different clothes that have kind of been stitched together to have this very elaborate design to try and make him obviously stand out and be very flamboyant. A fair few piercings. Haven't decided on what kind of hair I want yet, but I do know that I want 4 horns as kind of like a crown. So he's got kind of like 2 on the side that go up and then 2 in the middle that go up. And then the hair would either complement that being spiked up in like a pompadour or a sleeked back.
Cool. Can you can you make sure you mention that in the when you fill in that character stuff? Because I have taken a note of that one.
100%.
Because that seems interesting.
Yeah. And he'll have, the stereotypical, like the pointed tail that stereotypically tieflings have. I'm torn on what kind of skin color to do.
I love D&D.
Yeah.
Where you can go, I'm choosing a skin color. Whoop, 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 and everyone goes, okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I say, for me, a tiefling's always purple in my head. Kitty, we can see you. Woohoo!
Hello.
I have swapped to my phone now, so hopefully this will solve all of those problems. Let's see if I can actually get in frame. Sorry about that. I don't know why my Discord is crashing. Can you hear me though?
We
Just
can
to
hear
double
you
check.
perfectly.
at least that's working.
That's it.
So hopefully I'll be on now.
Excellent. Now, just before you popped on, Kitty, I dropped the map of the location that we're going. So what I think we'll do is we'll pop through this precursory overview of Brendo's character, and then before we start yours, I'll bring back up the map of the realm that we're going to be in, because I know you had some ideas and wanted to know where some of the landmarks were for your character.
Cool.
And that's
cool.
sort of what I'm thinking of heading towards with you next, Brendo. So we've got an unknown coloured, flashy sort of... I was going to ask whether there are any peacock eye tattoos on you, but thought that was a little bit close to home.
Not quite. He's definitely an inspiration, old Molly, in like that kind of flamboyant side of things. But I was gonna go purple skin, but I want to kind of maybe go red, like a rose red, so he really does look like a devil. A little, because obviously if I make him pink or purple, then people will be like, oh yeah, he's definitely a fairy because he's pink and they're all fairy, sparkly, whatever. Or if he's got like the traditionally devilly red skin, he's just like, no, it's rose colored. What are you talking about?
I suspect, I'm just checking my notes here, that's the history of the place we're in that I jotted down a while back.
Quick notes.
Yeah, it's actually like a layered timeline because, you know, we had a lockdown a year ago.
Yeah.
Where am I looking for this? Sorry.
What are you looking for?
I'm just looking for anything that you've put up that I'm meant to be looking at.
No, I haven't put anything up at all yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was like a link or something. Then
No.
I was like, wait, have I missed something?
No, I'll make them all available, but I think I'm going to pop them up on screen first so we can talk them out first. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't have the stream up at the moment either, so I can't see chat right now. Sorry, my apologies.
That's all good.
But I'm just still setting it all up now.
No worries.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's all right. It's a work in progress. I spent the last hour and a half here. Like about 4 o'clock, I said to my wife, "I'm gonna go and do some prep." She's like, "Oh yeah. Oh, I'm only gonna play from 7 to 9. What time is it? 4 o'clock." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but it's the first one. I've got to make sure it works." Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
And my wife is not a D&D player. She's tried it once or twice and just gone, "You're weird," and then left.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Absolutely.
There are many other tabletop RPGs that, you know, maybe there's another one.
I think it's just generally the potential for depth of roleplay in general. I think if I threw Masquerade or literally anything else at her, with she'd roll her eyes and laugh at me, which sort of is one of the foundations of the relationship. Really is. I'm
rolling her eyes at you.
Yeah, that I'm a sweaty nerd and wrong, and she's the smart one. That's not true. She told me she wasn't a Doctor Who fan, and then as all the jokes go, by the end of the 4th or 5th hashtag, she was going "Ooh," every time it started. So. Oh my goodness, I have mug envy, Kitty. That is amazing. Hold that bad boy up again. Look at it.
No,
I actually have. Hold on one sec.
Cooler. That's so cool.
That's.
Is that a mimic one? Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm painting them. They're 3D printed.
Oh, freaking awesome.
Yeah, I can link them to my friend who does the 3D printing and is selling them, and I just paint for display. But yeah.
That is amazing.
Man, you can 3D print anything these days. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh God, why is this not logging in?
My old man's, what would he be, in his late 70s, and I was talking to him a while back about 3D printers, and he was like, wait a minute, he's been racing motorcycles forever, and he's like, wait a minute, could we make this and this and this and this? And we suddenly realised, because the printer we use is one of those LCD moulding ones. They're so smooth that you can actually probably manufacture those parts rather than ship them out if you can get the right plans for them. Just with the level of complexity of even, you know, the basic ones now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're going to pull us back.
Distractions.
Yeah, we've digested a little bit. we were talking about the look of your definitely not Molly Mock type tiefling, and they were going to be red.
100%. Yes.
And I do like the idea of red. Do let me know if they are red, because that will play into that awesome Crown of Thorns. What are they called? Horns. Words are hard.
Yeah, because I was trying to think, being Fae, I should try and time into some kind of flower. So originally I was going through like, I could go violets, and immediately I was like, Molly's purple, probably shouldn't do that. And I'm like, I could go really heavy on the rose theme, and obviously have the red skin, black horns for the thorns. Sorry, Kitty.
Molly is my favorite character, though. So.
He's also mine. Yeah. Not gonna lie.
No, Molly doesn't. Yeah. Molly's just separate to every other character that exists, as far as I'm concerned, because otherwise it's 100%. Not fair. Yes.
Yeah, you can't judge other characters by Molly. It's just not fair.
No, exactly
just
right.
It'll never work.
And entirely counter to the whole point of what they were doing there. So, as soon as you make something, then everyone's like, "Oh, I can't do that because someone else does it." That's sort of not the point of D&D at all, is it? As we were saying about Shakespeare,
do what you want, have fun.
Absolutely, and if you steal it from someone else, just do it well, or rubbish,
or just have fun doing it. I mean, ultimately, we're here to have fun, and if you enjoy that character and want to do something similar, guaranteed you are going to play it differently anyway, regardless, because you're not Taliesin, you're not going to do the same thing. So
if you haven't been around for countless millennia.
Yeah. I'm not an immortal vampire.
Or are you?
Or am I?
That's just what a vampire would say.
That's it.
Exactly right. All right.
I'm a vampire once a month on a weekend.
One thing to keep in mind, Brendo, about tieflings is, in my brain hole, there's not a lot of them around. Dark Eye Fuchsia would be good theme for a Fey tiefling. I love that button, Kitty. the flippy flip button.
Let me Google what that color is.
It's a flower.
Oh, purple and red.
Hang on one sec.
Yeah, hold on.
What's just happened?
Oh, Giggle.
Yeah,
I think I found it.
Something's just gone wrong.
Yeah, you've gone sideways.
Oh,
there's been
rotated.
There's been an earthquake.
Yeah, I don't know what's going. Give me one sec.
It's a wild magic surge. It's okay. Yep, Gigs. I'm stealing that flower.
Oh wow,
that is going to be my flower. That is like, perfect.
Okay, so your first bibliography point has to be Giggle Fairy, I'm afraid.
Yep, Giggle Fairy. Fuchsia. I got to get used to saying that.
Same color as that rhino in that awesome movie. What was he called? Oh,
the rhino.
Yeah, it's an old comedy movie which had might have been Joe Pesci or something like that, and it was about kids, like a Barney style kids show, where the thing was a fuchsia rhino, and it's just one of those ones that's not a kids movie at all. It's dark and violent and hilarious.
Yeah, right.
But it's about this fuchsia. I think it was a rhino. I must remember what it is now and watch it again, because the word fuchsia just brings it to me every time. So anyway, so fuchsia is what we're probably going with then. So red and purple, which I love. And I'm inclined to play with that and make that come back and bite you in about 50 episodes.
That's beautiful. I'm sold.
Alrighty. Any personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws that you want to throw out there?
Oh, yes, that was what we were talking about. What's my personality? Probably quite trickster-esque, knowing Faye. So
I'm just going to write Loki Light down here.
Let's go. I struggle to take things seriously.
Advice for life.
Seriously, and always find the, what's the word? Not joy. I guess the fun. The fun in something. I guess that works for now. The fun in something.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold you to this stuff. This is more just an ideas and sort of backstory builder today. So.
It's tricky because I love this stuff. So I always try and make sure that it's something like simple yet effective that I can always like fall back on.
Yeah.
My bond. My ideal. What do I idolize? Probably a mixture of beauty, a little bit of like fun and like lightheartedness, maybe
A
companionship.
little bit of that fey carnival type feeling.
Yeah. Companionship. I don't want to put fun again. Let's go spreading joy. No consequences.
Excellent. Now, you said your faith is Pharaoh. Zinai, welcome. How are you, buddy? Thank you for joining us. We're just rolling through Brendo's character here. We've got ourselves a Fey. I'm going to say Fey touched, even though that's not official. A Fey touched type tiefling, someone who thinks they're a Fey, but ain't. So that should be fun to play with. Yeah, session's going well so far. Nothing has broken yet, and we're talking mainly brains here. Technology's going to happen. Don't even count technology. If we've got voice, we can do it. Do you know what I mean? We could, if we had to, we could theatre of the mind the whole thing.
Yeah, we're making it work.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, bonds. Obviously, total mama's boy. So, what's a nice way of putting that without just putting in mama's boy?
Strongly imprinted on mother figure.
Huh.
I like that. And are you happy for these to change and or get like more stuff added to them and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. The beauty of the D&D setup is that I can just go and check it whenever I want. So if you change something, and as I'm looking forward through it, I notice it, it's all good. So I can really pick up the information if I need it, and it's all there.
The Fae Untouched would have to be called Veronica's.
That's what I was laughing at. I just didn't get around to actually saying it.
Right. Flaws. Obviously, I'm stubborn because I'm quite set in my ways, and like how I view things is obviously the way they should be viewed.
So that's everyone.
That's it. Not really. I'm not a slave. Even though I'm a chaotic person, I wouldn't really call myself a very selfish person.
Remember, again, we're talking guidelines here. So I mean, you start with stubborn. We're level 1 characters, so you're not necessarily going to have a lot of these things. These are things that I would expect we add over time.
There's a lot of time to be traumatized.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Because not everybody's parents died. It's not a Disney.
Let's go flamboyant. I feel like that's a fun flaw. Stubborn and flamboyant.
Pretty sure those two are non-negotiables with a bard and a tiefling anyway. So
100%. Like they just combo so well.
It's almost a challenge to make a tiefling. It's just like I'm a grey tiefling. I have no humour, and I take everything very seriously.
I am double.
Yeah. I do spoken word poetry about rocks, or something like that. That's hard to do because rocks are interesting, but whatever. I was trying to find something that wasn't interesting and failed.
All the geologists just sat there were like, hell yeah, I dig it.
That's it. Like, wait a minute, rocks are really cool. This is not going to go well. Oh well, we're in it now. Alrighty. Well, I think we might take a pull here. Let's see. I suppose the other thing I should tell you, just for your planning, my brain hole tells me that there's not a lot of tieflings in this, on this rock, on this planet, on this place, in this realm, for reasons that will become apparent.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll come back after. I think we'll have a look at the place, and then we might go back a few steps and see if we can run Kitty through the character creator.
Beautiful. I'm ready.
Alrighty. So can you see the stream at all, Kitty?
Yeah, I'm delayed though. I've just kind of I'm in it.
Excellent.
I can see it.
All right. Let's see how
But
long
it's
this takes.
yeah, it's just gotta.
So I've just put
I'm
up
not sure.
the map of the continent upon which I think we're going to start.
Okay, yeah.
Zina, I think we're just going to do the 2 tonight, and then we might do another one Wednesday, or we'll pop back and do another 1 or 2 next Monday. So that is Venderlin, the continent upon which we am. Now, I've currently got another campaign running on this map, and they're currently up the top there in the Corsuan Wastes. Can we zoom in?
Okay.
Yeah, let's zoom in. So they're up here, just leaving or just around Extor Rin, which is an oasis in the desert. I won't say too much more depending on where you're from, because it is possible to not have been from this particular continent, although it is highly unlikely for reasons, which I've sort of made up, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they work yet, so they might change. I was thinking this sort of area down here, in Segendria, that's a nice, decent-sized town. And there's a few areas of interest within a couple of weeks' travel around it. And then I think the principal city is Briard here. But I don't know very much about Briard in my head. It's that big city that everybody knows, and it's New York when you've never been there. It could be anything until you've gone there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is where my other campaign is at the moment, in the Oasis at Extor Rin.
Cool.
And this is the region around Segendria. So a couple of interesting squiggly bits there to uncover. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds amazing, and you get there, but it smells, and the people are rude. But it's still amazing. Like, that's the important part. Is you get there and you go, "Wow, this is disappointing," but it's still way better than what I expected.
Still an experience.
There's so much that I've built up, and then actually see there that it could be rubbish. It's like a Disney ride of what you thought it was going to be.
Sure.
But you're still like,
it's like
this is amazing.
Any big cities and or anything you build up in your head as a destination, you get there, it's
absolutely.
It's going to be different.
Always Zero has joined the party. Thank you very much for the follow. Love having you here. Please feel free to jump into the stream and add suggestions or jokes or distractions. That's part of what we want out of session 0. Is I want as many of the people who are here to be having a say and getting involved. Anyway. That's what we're looking at. We might pop over, if it's all good, Brendo, to Kitty, and let's go. Let's have a bit of a chat about you, because Brendo very clearly had an idea for a character. I understand you've got something as well, but yours seems like it's probably going to be tied to where we're at.
Yeah, well, as long as it fits within somewhere in the world, like I have an idea of, I guess, narratively speaking, what I want my character, where they've come from, but I think it could easily be adapted to any setting that you are creating. So but yeah, I definitely have ideas, but I'm also willing for you to be like, that's not going to exist in my world, and I'll just change it. That's cool. Okay,
well, let's start with the ideas. While you're explaining the ideas, though, anybody who can access the Discord, go there, because Giggle Fairy just did a Hero Forge of Brendo's character.
Wicked work as well. The colors. Mwah.
Seriously, I'm just going to bring it up. I'm
Ah,
going to break the fourth wall here.
beautiful.
That. Seriously, that's canon now, Brando. You have no other choice. Yeah. You don't get...
Before we get started, I'm just going to grab myself one more drink, and then I'll be good for the rest of the night.
Too easy.
1 sec.
Alrighty. Brenda, I'm going to pop yours off now, and let's see if we can get Kitty sorted up when she comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Review campaign.
Curious to see what she has planned.
Are you arbitrary stipulation on D&D, Kitty?
Oh, yeah. I forgot what my username was, even.
Excellent.
Yes, that's me.
There we go. Okay, so if you want to be updating these things as we go through, and then once you've done it, I'll reset. Because I can't see what's going on live.
Yeah.
I can only see it once I refresh it.
I see.
So currently I'm on the... I'm going to go back to the race class. So if you want to do that, you talk us through your race ideas first. And then once we get to the end of the build... and let me know if this doesn't work for you. Once we get to the end of the build, we'll talk a bit more generally. Unless you want to do it the other way around. And give us a sort of a broad stroke first.
No, that's cool. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So race, yeah. So race, I just want to be a very boring and ordinary human.
Excellent.
Just in a world where all these races exist, what's the ordinary thing is human, I suppose.
I've always had a thing in my brain about humans in homebrew that they're the newcomers. I'm not sure whether it just comes from every story ever, but the old Tolkien idea that they're the present and the future of the worlds. But in my canon for Backstories, it's normally that they've found their way to a realm and then noxiously sort of expanded. Art imitating life
that
or something.
colonial background thing, right?
100%.
Yeah.
No fault of the individual humans involved, but definitely just like a racial history of those guys are the guys who set up shop and cut all the trees down.
The insidious weed
Absolutely.
of humanity.
Dinra TV, good to see you. Variant humans are so fun to make, though. Well, that's the thing. Are you going to go base human or variant human?
Base human was my thought.
Yeah, excellent.
Just the standard. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, I guess, do you have any restrictions on languages that would, I guess, be like if a particular race or whatever is just not in your world, then it makes sense that I wouldn't know those languages.
Not really. So essentially, broad strokes, this world has been effectively sealed off from the multiverse, and so it is essentially a prime material plane of its own, but it's separate. There's been a shield wall to stop movement because of the way the Pantheon has developed, and more as a protective feature against the rest of reality.
Cool. Yep.
Now, with humans and with characters that have been on Vendelin for a long time, I've got a couple of other little sort of background things that you might be able to pop in. Don't need to make a decision on this now. We can talk about it further, and I'll put something up on this. So there's 5 basic class backgroundy type things that I've imagined up on this continent based on what has happened in the 3,000 or 4,000 years leading up to the campaign. There are the Briani, who are usually human, and they have ties to Briard, which they call the Eternal City. If you are a ranger, you'd be able to use Briard as your favourite terrain, which means basically you could have proficiency when you're trying to hide in a city setting that's tied to Briard. So your cities would count as a nature zone. So you sort of built environment ranger, which I just thought would be cool. if we wanted to suddenly switch to a steampunk world. There's the Sindari, who are either humans or dwarves. Usually, there's no limit to this. It's just where they would normally be. And if you were going to look at one of those, I'd allow you to choose and split some human and dwarf traits just for lols.
Okay.
And they get advantage to find the best path when there is a choice. And history and arcana become interchangeable. So if I say do a history check, you can do an arcana check, and vice versa. Because the Sindari come from a continent to the north, and they were a magocracy. Vendali, all races, they get advantage on history checks because obviously they're tied to this continent. You get an extra language and advantage on anything that has to do with trade and negotiations. Alstar, and Alstar is actually the world, the name of the world that this continent is on. You get advantage on arcana checks, history checks that are specific to the continent, to the world, sorry. And once per day, you can give an order as a bonus action and swing the action of either an NPC or, with the PC's permission, a PC, so they can make a suggestion in the form of an order because they are part of that Alstar, the larger race of leadership on the world. And then there's the Wayfarer. You must be an elf for that. And you can add a traveler type deity. So, what's the one in Forgotten Realms with the funny word? Basically the deity that looks after the people who travel and the wanderers and those kind of things. It's a hard to say one, but I'll do that later. So a whole lot of sort of, and then mainly flavor options to give us an into the world that you're going to be in. So and I imagine them sort of largely human specific, but open to everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking what I was hoping for my character, in terms of where they're situated in the world, was actually that they're from a big city, but haven't actually lived in the city because they are. She has been in like she's an oblate, basically, like donated to the church to serve since an infant. And she has not left this great, like, basically the complex or the grounds of whatever this particular cult is. That's the idea. So even though she's from a big city and interacted with people who are from like lots of places and whatever, it's only in this very limited capacity. So her actual world knowledge and knowledge of cities and things like that is not actually, I guess, standard for someone who grew up in a city. I'm not really sure how that ties into any of those particular things, but
doesn't have to.
That's kind of where I was thinking, like, so it's kind of like there's potential for her to have knowledge that people living in a city would have through her interaction with the citizens of the city, but her own personal knowledge is not necessarily from experience living that life.
I'm going to suggest that you're from the that you've been cloistered in the Stormbreak Islands. Then.
Okay, cool.
I'm just scanning some stuff in, so you'll see this better. So that's essentially them. So basically, it's a collection of sort of cast islands in the middle of the river, a few whatever distances from Sedendria,
I like that.
Probably the second city of Vendelin. So
okay, cool.
I will pop that in, and we can talk about that a little bit further, because I always think of that as an ancient sort of city, like a holy pilgrimage site.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so this is what I was thinking, like, so she's kind of interacted with people, but only in this very limited kind of capacity, and in a very specific function and scenario. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Okay, that's that one. Just bear with me. I'm trying to do two things at once now because I want to get that up so you can see it properly and can play with it if you want. I love the idea.
Fine.
It will fit the backstory really
Yeah,
well.
at the moment I've also only got one little monitor, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to juggle things on my screen as well.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I would literally not bother about anything else for the moment because I'm just going to do some background stuff for a few moments while I get this image back up for you. I would say if you wanted to consider one of those, you'd be Cinder as a background. But it would, that would also be on top of your background that would just be in the normal game. So it's an addition, not a replacement.
Yeah, cool.
And for you, Brendo, same thing. Might be a little bit different for you. You might have to go down the Wayfarer run because as a tiefling, you don't fit the, you're in the absolute minority. As a tiefling in this world, they'd be like, whoa, I've heard of you. I didn't actually think they were real. As soon as you get out of like a main population area, they'd be just like, geez, I thought you were from before the, before the Sundering.
Nice. Mythological creature.
That's it.
Cool.
All right,
That's definitely not going to go to my head at all.
That's it. And it'll be... I tend to play really, really light with, social issues when I DM. Like, somebody will be like, tiefling. And that's as far as it'll go. They'll be like, okay, would you like to buy the thing now? It's like super, super surface. Because the whole idea of playing horrible, horrible things that we have to deal with in our reality in a game seems silly. So we play a tiny bit of lip service and then I'll ignore it because story.
Yeah.
Cool.
Unless you guys want to dig into it, then tell me and we'll do that. Okay, let's see if that worked. All right, that is it. I just have to do a rotatey thing. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go. So that's Stormbreak Islands in front, top, and side. And essentially, it's a city that's walled by fast-flowing river. As you can see from this one on the right, really sort of tall, sharp islands with grass on most of them and little temples and that kind of stuff. Book God's got a quick tip for making backstories, so hit us with it, Book God. Thank you very much for chiming in.
Yeah, cool. Hit us up.
Absolutely. While we wait though, that's essentially the plan of it. I had a picture of it. I tried to draw it, and I'm still working out how to do it. So I love sort of playing around with pretend topographical maps and that kind of thing. So I was trying to do something in a section where the different islands overlap, and you can actually find your way through them.
Cool.
Book God, absolutely brilliant tip. Ask whether your player characters are going to be heroic or not from the start. We actually last week had a 2 or 3 hour long discussion about this. So our very first session, even though this is called Session 0, 50 episodes from now, we're still going to be called Session 0 because I want us to be thinking about that stuff from the back. So in our actual Session 0,
We've just never actually...
we never get past the beginning.
Yeah, we're not actually playing D&D. We're just creating D&D characters and setting up the world.
Which is really realistic for most players. I reckon I've made 50 characters that I've just gone, that was fun. All right, back to being a DM.
Back to the drawing board.
That's it. Or maybe if I ever get a chance to play a campaign like that, I'll be able to play that character.
Yeah.
But
I definitely, I mean, as I said before, I'm a big fan of playing characters that are not really heroic by nature. They may do heroic deeds, but it's not their goal in life. They're not trying to be this big adventuring hero. It's, for whatever reason they're in this scenario. And I mean, that's a big part of that is making sure that it makes sense with the rest of the characters why you're adventuring together. You don't want to have to like really force that to happen, or it just, I feel, doesn't really make for a great story. But definitely in my preference is to play characters that are just, you know, they're surviving more than out there determined. Oh, sorry, another question.
Are your characters truly merciful or
Ooh.
not? My
Merciful's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's dependent on so many things. I mean, if somebody stabbed my mother, probably not.
Yeah.
Does depend on how grey area you want the word merciful to be as well. I mean, what do you consider merciful? Perhaps you are. Yeah, I mean, I think that ties into your alignment a lot as well. But yeah, I tend to think about a lot of these personality traits of a character first, and then create a narrative around how I feel that character would like what fits. Why would they be that way that I want the personality to be? So when I create backstories, I tend to I do the personality kind of ideas, broad strokes first, and then I try to refine the backstory to match how I want to play that character's personality. And then so a lot of these questions I do tend to think of, I think, first, but you know, it helps to have an idea of the personality, because then when you are confronted with something in the game, it matches, like your reaction as a character can match the backstory, because you've thought about why they have that personality, why they are doing those actions. So I think merciful, I think my character would be merciful. I think it's a huge part of her life has been about being merciful, but the definition of merciful might be a little bit grey and different to other people's.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And generally, Book God, for the rest of the party, last week when we had our first session, we were all sitting in sort of setting ground rules. We all sort of erred on the idea of we're not going to be an evil campaign, so it tends to be more fun if we're going to be the people who happen to be in the place when the world is saved, whether you're there because you wanted to be a hero or whether you were, picking up potatoes at the time and didn't have any other choice. It's going to lean towards the party finding themselves in situations where they will be making wholesale differences in the world. Once we level up a little bit, I mean, there's got to be a ramp up into that.
Yeah.
For me, and I was saying this to Brendo before you came on, Kitty. For me, alignment is a guideline. Like, it's something that's fluid. So if you say you're lawful good, but you find something you can't do, well, whatever. I'm not going to go, oh, you must change your alignment now. It's a guideline. It's there to go. This is sort of where I preset to. After there, off you go. Well, the world changes people. Every time we have to go out into the real world, it changes us somehow.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely feel that way with the idea of character history and personality too. I mean, you might start a certain way, but the events of this adventure will have an impact on your worldview, or potentially your entire outlook. So definitely there is always room for growth with a character, and I think the best characters start off a little bit vague, and you sort of build them into what you think the world has created them to be in the situation. So yeah.
I would also say that this stuff is central to a character. Like, if you look at any good story, any good book, any good movie, it's all about how that character changes. It's not about this is what the character was when we see them in chapter 1, and so they must be that the whole time. If the character hasn't changed in some way, be it develop, it's not a story.
What are you following the character for?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So as an I'd probably technically repeated behaviour would likely change the alignment, but it's never something I'm going to say. I'm never going to be going, well, that's the 15th time you've cut someone's fingers off. You can't be lawful good anymore. Do you know what? It'd be more just
I have
like
a tally.
Yeah, exactly. It would become more of a something that we revisit as a character organically, rather than cross that off your character sheet and change it. I've played one of the games I play is very much like that. It's okay. We follow the rules as written. We argue over how the rules are interpreted. But for me, the character sheet is a jumping off point. And if we're suddenly not following it for ages and we remember to change it, sure. But what I'd like us to have is a cool story. And with the people that we've got that are playing, I have no doubt that's going to be a cracker. Book God had another question for us, random RP question. If your character had to go on a 1-year adventuring hiatus, what would they be doing? Now, that is a question that will almost definitely come up because I love the idea.
A good question. Well, yeah, I guess I sort of would have an idea of where my character would be with that sort of thing, but I'm not sure that it's good to put that out just yet. Just because I feel like,
well, we
know,
don't know. We know that your character is human and probably comes from a cloistered background, having been born in a city, and that's it because we got distracted.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and like I said, I have ideas, but I'm more than willing and happy to change those ideas for what this setting is and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, good. It's always good to ask questions of your character when you're developing them as well, I think.
Absolutely.
What were we up to? Class, right?
We were about to go to class, yes. Book God, keep those questions coming. Even if we don't get to answer them now, I'm probably going to try and jot a few of them down because they're absolute gold. So what are we thinking for class, Kitty?
I wanted to do a cleric with the grave domain.
Oh, grave cleric.
So the idea is that the temple and that she was in was her function in this place was to tend to people who were dying or thought they were dying, either way, but more about I guess helping them prepare for death as well as the rituals of like funerary rites and preparing body and mind and soul for the afterlife kind of thing. So not necessarily like healing, because her role wasn't to actually save these people. It was to facilitate this process. So I think her mindset is not a healer because that's never been her life. So even though she's cleric, there's definitely a different outlook to what, say, a normal priest or a preacher type cleric would be, or a healer that is interacting with the population in a general sense. I think her very specific function was about preparing for death and easing that transition or helping people prepare themselves for that.
Awesome.
So I'm not sure what particular gods that would align with for you, but that's my general idea.
Awesome.
But
so
yeah,
basically quicker with gentle repose and healing word.
Yeah. It's like I can help ease your pain, but you may not like the way I do it.
Yeah, strikes head and just shushes like, shh, it's fine, I've got you. Just let it happen.
The old pillow, it'll all be over soon.
Yeah.
It's better this way for you. The pain will be
exactly.
less. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's and I think it would skew her knowledge. In going back to a personality character trait thing, her interaction with people would heavily be with people who are confronting this end of life thing. So it's not necessarily your everyday kind of human people interaction that you would have if you were, say, in a village, or if you were a townsfolk, or any of those kind of jobs. So I think I like the idea. She's actually quite naive of day-to-day life, but quite world-wise in terms of the bigger philosophical, the things that confront people when they are really at that point where they have to look at themselves and and make those realizations about their very like moral being or whatever, when they're coming to that end of life phase. So I think she's kind of got this deep knowledge, but also this, and like wisdom, but also kind of a naivety when it comes to like trade or how currency works, because it's like never had to really buy anything. um so yeah, I think it's heavily tied into that, like she's a cleric but not necessarily this idea of a cleric that is often out there.
Fantastic. So Stormbreak to me really, really fits that character, because what I've zoomed in on there, this little sort of, where I do it here, this little hill here at the top. Peaceful Lawrence has joined the party. Thank you very much for the follow. We've had some awesome questions in the chat that have changed what we've done this evening. Keep those coming. There's another one up there from Book God about what would keep a smile on the character's face all day long rather than likes and dislikes, which is really cool. And Giggle Fairy has thrown out that you're basically
I've
Mother
also
Teresa.
just seen some of the
Not here to save you, I'm here to save your soul. And I don't hear you, just give you the morphine. I can think of 4 or 5 different real world links there that's just really cool.
I've just seen those comments. So yeah, I was looking at the D&D Beyond, so I didn't actually see them until just now. But they're great. I like them.
Now,
yeah, definitely a different kind of idea.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. The end of this island that I've got zoomed in on the Stormbreak picture is that really tall hill over above the sort of thing, the compound at the bottom. And in my mind, that was not actually a graveyard, but just up to a sort of temple for passing on. So this whole sort of island had that sort of monastic reserve kind of feel about it.
Yeah, cool.
So what I'll probably do, if you're up for it, is literally I'll upload this and I'll throw it over to you, and you're probably going to be able to make that your own, because it's only very general in mine.
Oh,
so if you want to take with your character story that as much or as little of it as you want and go, okay, this is what that is.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's great. Yeah. I like that. That's cool.
Giggle Fairy, Fuchsia Demon Child, and Mother Teresa so far. Awesome. All right, let's get back to actually doing the character.
Yeah, sorry. I get sidetracked like this.
Oh, no.
But
it's very,
it's good.
Very clearly all of us get sidetracked, and it's going to be wonderful. We're going to get 15 minutes of play in a session, but there'll be some cool discussions. All right, so you're taking a cleric of the grave.
Oh, it is my... Is that working? Oh, it's loading. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So philosophically experienced, emotionally naive, Book God says.
Yeah, I'm not sure about emotionally naive though, because I think there's quite a lot of. I mean, I guess in a person-to-person sense, yes. But I think there's having seen a lot of death, there would be a lot of quite complex, like quite a deeper understanding of emotion. It would just be, I guess, highly focused, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sort of a city mouse, country mouse kind of feel.
Yeah, it's difficult to, I guess, explain what's in my head, but yeah.
Fantastic.
Give me 1 second, I'm just having a quick look at this.
I always feel like with a lot of characters as well, you got to once you start playing them, you really narrow down what the fundamentals and the nitty-gritty are, or you might change a certain aspect.
That's right. And sometimes they play out differently to what you think. So a lot of this is just my initial feeling for a character. I don't like to put things too concrete right at the beginning. I have I guess often characters kind of build them like I don't know, they kind of write themselves when you play them, and change a little bit. But yeah, definitely. Like I like to have room to change it, but yeah, these are my ideas at the moment anyway.
And that's something that I'll make possible as well.
Cool.
Is if we need to retcon something, we'll do it. If it if that's really if it becomes something that's like actually that was a fever dream. This is who I really am now because I'm not enjoying that. Not ideal, but it's 100% doable. I don't mind the idea of either of going. Okay, I'm gonna multi-class because I want to change direction now, and then just pop off and do that. So it's it's less about being stuck down to I've chosen this class, I must follow it now, and more about okay, well this is what I'm role playing. So what's the tool set that's going to work with that most effectively? I did see Peaceful Lorenz. You were asking about the ideas so far. We're talking through Kitties as the second character we've talked about. Before that, Brendo went through. He's got a... Well, Brendo, do you want to give us the 30-second elevator pitch of yours again, just for the people who've popped in and
so
Peaceful?
Good idea. While I do a little bit of reading.
Yeah, cool.
Perfect.
For Moses Lafayette is so he's a tiefling who was given away, left in the forest, and then a fae has come past and been like, oh, what is this? I'ma take this. And then he's gone out to become this world-renowned bard, thinking he's a fairy, but he's clearly not. And we'll see how that goes.
So that's where we're at there. So tonight is the first night we've actually rolled characters. The first session that we had, the actual session 0, was an all-in group discussion, just setting boundaries, working out the general tone that we're going for. We had the discussion that Book got asked about before was what kind of campaign are we going to have, a heroic campaign? And we talked through the different perspectives we all had on that. We talked about whether we're going to be rules lawyers, and the answer, of course, was no, unless it's fun. And that was essentially the rule for all of it. Look, we're going to do this, unless that's not fun, and then we'll do the thing that's fun. And that's, to me, from a DM's perspective, I want us to be able to log in every time we play and go, wow, this is what I was looking forward to doing, and then log off and go, cool, I had fun doing that thing that I was looking forward to doing. I can't wait till next time I'm doing it. All right, how are we at, Kitty? Are we sorted up on classy class stuff?
Yeah, pretty good, I think.
Excellent. Not going to make you choose all your spells yet if you haven't. That's going to take ages.
I picked.
Oh, you've got it. Awesome. All right. Well, how are you going to roll your numbers? Are you going to roll them and add them, or are you going to roll them, or how do you normally do it?
Well, I think given that I have a strong character idea already, I would prefer to roll them and then allocate those rolls to the attributes, cool. Rather than just roll one, then the next, and the next kind of thing. If that's okay.
Absolutely. Now, do you have real world dice there that you want to roll, or are you going to use the website one?
Oh, I'll use the website one. I do have dice everywhere, but not right in front of me. It's easier probably just to do it on here as well. So what's your roll system that you like?
I tend to do the 46 take the highest 3 reroll ones, but the one that D&D Beyond does, their manual /rolled. If you go in there, you can just click roll, and it will roll that way for you.
Oh, okay.
And it
cool.
makes it super, super easy, and doesn't stick them. It doesn't force you to do it in an order or anything.
Okay, you just roll. Oh yeah, I see. Cool.
And once you've done that run through, normally when we do it pen and paper, we do 3 sets of that. But what I'd say rather than that is we'll see how it goes, and if we need to fudge it and change it, we'll just re-roll the one that really doesn't work. Whatever. So, good start. Cool. Good start with the 15 there.
Yeah, well, it's not too bad.
Whoa.
Hey, okay.
Not quite as OP as Brendo's was, but not terrible.
Oh, really?
I
I
got
didn't
very
actually
lucky.
see your one,
Very
so-
lucky.
Yeah, I think Brendo had 3 17s or something ridiculous like that.
Okay.
2.
Yeah, well, 15's obviously going on my wisdom. Alright, I'll just write these in now, shall I?
Yeah, so basically if you then...
Oh, you allocate them beneath, I
Yeah,
see.
you just drop them down, allocate them, and then apply. Yeah, lowest is a 12. It's not bad, so everything's got a modifier.
Yeah. That's good. I need all the help I can get.
That's it. Oh yes, Giggle Fairy with standard human. That means your lowest is actually a 13 because everything gets you plus 1, which it automatically will do. So once you scroll down, so what's happening?
Yeah, I think that's just it'll add it in the race bonus, right? Yeah,
it just throws
it's already
all the
got
ads
it there.
in there
Yeah, I see.
automatically.
Cool.
I told my the people I was playing with who have been playing since vanilla, oh, I'm never going to use that D&D Beyond. It's a third-party product that just means I have to buy extra. And then I played with it a while and went, oh wow, this is so much easier. It's just so user-friendly and useful that I've actually thrown some money into getting some of the books so I can DM easier on it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right.
Let's see. Let's reveal them. There we go. 15 into whim. So our strength is 13, dex 13, con 14, int 14, wisdom 16, charisma 15. Very good. Alrighty. Next.
I like it. What do we got next?
We're on to character description. So name, background, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
I'm with you, Peaceful Lorenz. These are Peaceful Lorenz. I'm probably going to mispronounce every name in the chat. I apologise in advance. I'm on the same boat. These two sound really good, and I think they'll run together really well. Which while Kitty goes through this page, and then we'll talk about it. Once we've got everybody's character rolled, the next thing I'll do is throw that out to the players and go, do we want to do some pre-sessions before we get the group together, just to have a 2 or 3 players set up where they have a session first, which will get them through level 1 into at least level 2, and naturally put them in the tavern that they'll end up in. It might not be a tavern, but it probably will be, because it's always a freaking tavern.
Why not?
Not that that's
it's a it's a common area, of course.
It's where people meet. Well, it was where people met, and then we had the internet, and that's where we meet now. Giggle Fairy. One of my friends just dropped $300 US on D&D Beyond. They were like, there was a sale, and it's your fault that I got back into D&D. Very nice. But the thing is, those packages make that so easy, because they're like, all you have to spend is $350. And you will have all of these books, but not all of these books. Yeah. The good thing about that is the sale always comes around again. All right, I'm going to refresh and see what we've got so far, Kitty, while the chat talks about dropping huge amounts of money on ebooks. But again, how is it different spending $300 or more on, 4 or 5 different D&D books online, or, I don't know, I have a prop here. And so on and so forth. I can't carry them all, they're heavy. But it's exactly the same when I go to a bookstore, or when I go to a games workshop, or one of the your tactics or your good games or something like that. So it's just getting used to the idea that when it's online, you can't touch it in the same way. It doesn't smell like a new book.
That new book smell.
Need to put that in a perfume, and then they'd make a mint. Okay, so appropriately, you've gone acolyte. How do we
Yeah.
pronounce that name? I'm going to have a go first. Tenare Oblati.
Oh, yeah, good enough.
Got
That's pretty much. I was thinking Tenere
yeah.
Oblati. I mean, the Oblati is just literally comes from the fact that she's an oblate,
Mm-hmm.
in the same way that, you know, a lot of names like carpenter or
Mm-hmm.
smith or mason
Mm-hmm.
are trade names. So really, it's not like a personal identifying thing. But yeah, Tenere.
Awesome.
Uh, yeah.
The acolyte, shelter of the faithful. Uh, anything that you want to? I'm not going to. Again, I'm not going to make you go through and do all of the character flaws and things now, unless you want to, because I feel that a lot of those things will come up in the first few levels anyway. Again, with character
Yeah, I
development
think
at
a
level
lot
one.
of yeah, yeah. I think a lot of the personal details and all that are quite I mean, I've kind of covered the general idea of what I want my character to be like. I just have to write them out a bit, but
Fantastic. All
hmm.
right. So, and same with equipment. Feel free to go through equipment while we talk, I suppose, because that's a basic thing. You know, you either take the one that's in the book or you spend some gold on it. If there's anything special that either of you want to have that would be outside of that, just have a reason for it and let me know. I see no reason why we can't have a few things, you know, or even once we get started, if you have to run away from somewhere straight away and there's a room and you wanted to take something from there, we can talk into that as well. I see no problem in characters having fancy shinies at the beginning, because all you need to do is put a fancy shiny in the hands of a baddie and it's even.
Cool.
But the thought is, once we've done this, we'll have that first session where, you know, let's take, for example, Tiefling might have been running between two different cities and gets waylaid nearby Stormbreak Isle, and something happens, and for, you know, one thing leads to another, and you guys end up where we start. So once we've done our character creation, start to think about where you might be. I think it's probably easy for you, Kitty, seeing as you're going to be where you always are. But yeah, think about where we're all going to be, and we'll sort of get together. I'll make it clear what's going on.
I do have ideas that she's not necessarily like there anymore. So like, because there's got to be a reason she leaves, right? You know, she's not just going to be like, oh, I've spent my whole life dedicated to this, and then all of a sudden I'm going on an adventure with these adventurers, like whatever. So I do think maybe she doesn't actually start there in terms of where she's meeting these people. Because I think narratively that's a weird thing to force. So I like the idea that something's happened and there's a reason she's out in the world now.
Fantastic. I'm also open to doing that story if you wanted to sort of take some reins when we did our pre-game. If you wanted to tell that story and that's how you got to know someone else, that's something else I'm open for. It doesn't have to be linear. We can go back 5 years or something. So keep those floating around, and if something awesome comes up, let me know.
Cool. Yeah, I'll sort of refine them a bit more in my head as well, and yeah. So.
Absolutely. That should pretty much bring us towards that character build. Do you have a picture?
I mean, other than the other.
I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, I don't have a picture yet. I will work on that.
I was going to say, do you have a picture of what they look like, just as a general, a general look?
Yeah, I would say fairly young, but not like teenager. So, you know, maybe late 20s. I'd say she's maybe tall but slight, not very physically. I mean, her strength isn't great, and she hasn't done any martial training per se. She may have picked something up somewhere from, you know, what she's doing, but yeah, so not particularly bulky. Beyond that, I haven't really thought about physical stuff. I guess that sort of comes with a bit more thought of refining those specifics. But
I sort of like the idea of the description coming the first time one of the other character walks in and meets them as well.
Yeah, I like that too.
So the idea of getting
I like the idea.
Yeah. The idea of getting some broad pictures in case anybody else in the chat is trying to picture people now and coming up with their own little art and ideas.
Yeah.
But the real reveal happens when we're playing, I reckon.
I often like to have. That's partly why I like to hold some things back too. Like often, my characters' names that I make, they almost always have some kind of meaning or linguistic association that I feel is actually relevant to the character. And I often have multiple names for the character that they've gone by, not necessarily in a shifty way, but just as like, you know, when you're a little kid, you get called one thing and maybe your friends call you something else, and like, you know, that sort of thing. I haven't really gone there yet with this, but definitely sometimes those fine details are better to build in play. Yeah, nicknames.
Yeah. What was Giggle Fairy saying there? I'm finding it really hard today because I'm listening to you two going, oh, this is really cool to listen to, and then seeing big things come up and going, oh, I've got to listen to chat as well. My ongoing list of random characters.
Wait, I've got to read that. Pause.
Yeah, that's it. Firefighter turned paladin or cleric who's lost their entire family to a fire, scarring, atoning for what they see as their failure to save them. Cool. Can we have Giggle Fairy in the team too? And Book God for that matter. Let's just have like 100. let's have a party of 100 people.
No. They can just be recurring NPCs that they roleplay for us, right?
100%.
On a side note, I have, while Kitty's been making her character and been chatting, I have made Formosus on Hero Forge.
I did see that. Just let me.
He is in the Discord.
There we go, up in the Discord. I love that.
Oh, that sounds good, Giggle Fairy. Sorry, I just read the description.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's Formosa Lafayette.
Like it.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Now there is a way to take the scripts for those and then have Hero Forge characters built in Tailspire. So if we get to use Tailspire,
I know Tailspire looks amazing.
That's so cool.
Yes.
Have you seen Tailspire, Brendo?
I've seen ads for it, but I've not like.
Yeah, I have it and I've played around a little bit, but yeah, I've seen what some people have done and I'm impressed. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I played around with building that X-Door Rim. I built part of that Oasis, but looking around at the tavern, what other people are making, I'm just like, oh, that's definitely in my campaign.
Oh. Yeah, yoink.
That's it. So that'll be another one where I have to add my bibliography of other people who I've stolen from for this campaign.
Oh. It's very cool though. I think some of the libraries that are of existing things is impressive. It just gives a really, I guess, a richer feel for an environment, which is nice. It's visually quite nice to look at, having such an extensive sort of in-depth program.
That's
helps.
it.
As when you're watching, I mean, like when you're playing, theater of the mind is great, but if you're watching other people play, it's nice to also have sort of a more concrete thing to look at. Oh yeah, cool.
I've got to make it do the level thing. I can never remember how it happened. Oh, too slow. But having that where you can do layers upon layers on it is what I really loved.
Yeah.
So I've built.
I always find the problem is I want to start and try all these new things, but I just put so much money into Roll20 that I'm just like, oh,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Makes me so sad.
That's it. This one I think will actually have a lot of links that you'll be able to do with, because I know you can already connect your character roles and character sheets from D&D Beyond into this program, and you can bring in. There's a community mod where you can bring your Hero Forge minis in, and where are my minis? I can't remember how to do it. Hold on, let's go to Dragon's Claw Mountains. that one. So I'm really looking to be able to do it now. With Kitty, you having it, that's really good because it basically means you could actually do your playing in this live if I had it on stream. But for Brendo, this is one of them. But for Brendo, in your case, I could just move your character. So let's move that up. This thing is huge.
It's just so good. It looks so good.
Even if it was just building an environment to show like what we're in and not even using it to its full capacity, it's a good visual aid for gameplay.
100%.
Welcome to the Discord, Book God, and thank you very much for the follow. I'm glad that came up because you've earned every moment of discussion you've had today. So many good questions from you. Thank you very much. But no, this thing is just amazing. Cool. So you can zoom right into sort of eye view, and then they've got their little tokens that you can...
Oh, and there's all the lighting and visibility stuff too, like where, the figures you put in, if they can't see something, it doesn't necessarily come up, and those sorts of things. I like that. That's cool.
You know the thing that I like the most? There's the torch on. The thing I like the most, and it's a tiny little thing, you can toggle to fly. Like, just that to me.
That's cool, right?
Like, it's a little thing that, like, you could always just put it up in the air and have nothing, but to have a fly toggle, it's just everything.
Yeah. It's a nice touch, right?
That's it. And, of course, this is an early access. They've only just released this, so the other things they've got in their mind, I think there's a whole lot of almost another whole program they're sort of planning, which is a design tool, or I can't remember exactly, but just the stuff that they're talking about doing.
Yeah,
which was outside the Kickstarter, so they're like, we don't want to talk about it too much. No, I don't think they have a prone toggle yet, but God. So yeah, I've spent many hours building in this already. Going, wow, the people who built something like this.
So good.
Yeah. So on the weeks, if we're going to go ahead and do fortnightly, on the weeks where we're not playing, if we have a big thing come up, the off Monday will probably be a little bit of Tailspire from time to time when I'm rapidly going, I've only got a week to build this, I've got to get it sorted.
Yeah. Let's learn as we go.
Exactly right. But that's only one of the tools I'm planning to use, because I'm thinking we'll probably spend some time in Roll20, but Roll20 is really, really CPU hungry for me. And so even if we don't have our heads up there, I was thinking, at least early on, where is it? Playing around with this little guy. I think I might have showed you the other day. Owlbear, I think it's called.
I haven't tried that one.
Where is it? Owlbear Rodeo. And it's literally just a web browser where you can drop in JPEG maps. And just drag tokens onto it. So we'll bring in, let's put a grass one in, select, and then these little tokens you just pull out. There's a ranger, goes there, moves here. This guy moves here. All right, here's Zenai the Bard. That to me is just so easy for like just a quick interaction, not a big bad or anything like that. Formosus. Okay, got your little name tag and everything. So I think that is definitely one. Dimra, I played about 6 hours, I've played about 6 hours of Sea of Thieves on stream in the last week. It's amazing when you've got someone else to play with. It's dull when you don't. But yeah, so they're two of the platforms I'm sort of hoping to use.
Cool.
All right, anything else, Kitty, to add to the character? We're digesting again. I do know it's digressed, by the way, but...
Yeah, that's humor.
Yeah.
Nothing. I did the basic starter equipment. The only thing with that I might feel would be worth changing is not having a mace as the weapon. I feel that's a very blunt and brutal weapon for my personality. So I think maybe substituting that, but the general starter stuff is quite good for what I see my character having at this level.
Yeah.
I think the details of like description and personality I can fill out. I think I've gone through at least, so you've got a rough idea. But in terms of actually writing it, writing is a whole different thing to speaking. So it'll take me a little bit longer to get construct sentences.
I think we'll just make.
But yeah, I can have all that written up.
Yeah, it'll be no rush. We'll just make plenty of time when people are ready to reveal stuff, because that's doing this in front of a potential audience does give us the idea that there's going to be stuff that the audience knows before it happens. So it's going to. I would argue it doesn't take away from the suspense. It just changes it. Like you know that something's coming up. When will the other players hear of it?
Yeah.
But there's certain things.
Yeah, and how will that be introduced?
That's it. And how will
Which I think is an interesting thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, there's not very many people who watch D&D who don't also play or don't also want to play or aren't also involved in storytelling. So yeah, tension versus anticipation, book God, 100%.
Yeah, quarter stuff would be good. Book God.
Yeah,
I like that.
I tend to
I think that works.
I reset to a quarterstaff almost every time because it's a freaking awesome weapon, frankly, from a gameplay perspective. But it's a stick. So, you know, what does a level 1 character start with if not a stick?
I mean, I started with a stick when I was like, you know, sword fighting, right? You just have a stick. That's how everyone starts.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if you use 2 hands with the stick, it does more damage.
Because you can hit harder.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Awesome. All right, well, that about wraps up the nuts and boltsy character-y bits for the night, because I suppose I'm going to call it proof of concept. I am going to... Have you gone through to your character sheet yet, Kitty? I don't want to be the first one to do that. That seems unfair.
I was just going to the end bit.
Cool. I'm not going there.
But yeah, I think I'm.
Yeah. No. I
think I'm done.
Yeah. I'll let you go through and play with it first. I know Brendo had gone through to the end. I don't want to be the first one to pop into someone's character sheet. It sort of feels like prying. Even if I am the DM, I can do that off stream if I need to.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I'm done with it for now. That she's all ready, pretty much. Just the minor additional thing.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to call that proof of concept for character roles. I think that worked all right. I'm glad that you were both on board, because it meant that I could talk to Kitty while Brendo was working, or I could talk to Brendo while you were working, Kitty. Having the 2 people there sort of made it work better. I am incredibly grateful for our people in chat throwing out questions and giving us stuff to talk about in the dead space there. I reckon we would have had to work harder if it weren't for all you folk. I am actually going to have...
the comments and questions were great. I like that. It sort of, you can bounce your ideas a bit more if there's someone actually responding.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I have to get better at flipping between this and Discord, though, because Book Gods dropped in a list of 100 low-level magic items that they use there, and we've got all the images of the Fey Tiefling even. So
yeah.
I think if you are on our Discord, which I think you should be able to just find on my stream page if you're there, I think Anthony, who'll probably be coming on later in the week or next week to do his character drop, has linked his YouTube for his D&D podcast there as well. He had a long one-shot last week, which he popped up. So if you don't have enough D&D tonight, dive into that one as well. Because there's just not enough D&D out there, I hear. We live in a world where you don't have to hide under a tree to do it. It's everywhere, which is really cool.
And you know, it's also online, which is good because
Yeah.
You don't even have to necessarily meet up with people somewhere.
Exactly. And
which as a female gamer, it can be awkward sometimes to have to meet people you don't know in their house with another group of people you don't know.
absolutely. Yeah, no, that's always fraught. Going somewhere for the first time and going, okay, is this going to be a picture? Yeah, I'm now going to be. I've sold myself into at least 2 or 3 hours of sitting in someone's house, and if they're complete plonkers, it's going to be upsetting.
Yeah, I've definitely had some very difficult and awkward situations where I've been trying to find games before I sort of started playing in shop, like, store things and in online. Online has definitely helped a lot, though, even just like finding a group that you at least know a little bit, even if it's just through online chat. But yeah,
Have you found that
much easier.
stores and public sort of groups have been helpful as well? Because I've always looked at things like not so much Adventures League, but I know a lot of places like Tactics have those rooms and those spaces. Have you found that's been
Yeah,
good?
I think having that space is good, especially as an initial meeting ground. And maybe you can like move things off to somewhere else later, but it's a nice, safer environment, I think, to meet people and have even just a few sessions. But generally, I like those, especially if they have a dedicated room where you're not in a mixed crowd, because that can also sort of be difficult if you're in a crowd. But if there's a dedicated room, 100% I would rather play in a store than necessarily go to people's houses, especially if they're not already close friends. But yeah, that's, I mean, and you can also, like, I guess, meet other people that are interested in games that way, without, I guess, again, that feeling of being unsafe. So I really like that those spaces are available.
Yeah, oh, that's good. I've got to admit, we set this group up on our local town's D&D Facebook page. So I just put a message up there, and that's where I found Brendo and Kitty and all the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
So I found that was really helpful. Where you could just say something, and then the people who wanted to talk, we could DM or we could talk publicly. It was a good, and I've got to be honest, I'm stoked with the mix of people that we've got. I'm probably the least experienced DM, gamer, everything out of the whole crew DMing this. So if it goes off the rails, I'll just hand pass, and all the experts will tell me what to do.
I just want to comment on what Book Gods said about the rules authoritarian, like the idea of game stores. But my experience has actually, I've always known the staff of the stores when I've played. So I've always felt safe being able to say to them privately, this is an uncomfortable situation or whatever, and have feel like that can be resolved without it being difficult for me to have to confront anything. But definitely I can imagine that if you didn't have that existing trust with the store staff, that it could potentially be a problem still, of people being uncomfortable, because again, if it's in a dedicated room, you've still got that, I guess you're out of sight of people, and awkward things can still happen. I've definitely still had awkward things happen in even in that situation where I felt safe, but I was always able to be like, well, I can literally just take a few steps and I know that everything's fine. And I've generally also played with at least one other person that I know or have played with at least once before. So yeah, but yeah, I like them if they've got it as like I say, if I have that trust already there, but also if it's a dedicated space rather than just a one shots and stuff where they're sort of everyone going in and it's a bit chaotic. It's a very different vibe very different feeling to a game that is run at someone's house, obviously, and online again is different. But my experience at least has been fairly positive so far.
I've only ever really seen game stores from the perspective of playing Magic the Gathering live on your Friday Night Magic and that kind of thing. So really interesting to look at.
Yeah, that's a different vibe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've never really even thought of gaming at gaming stores more than just like, oh, if I can't find a game, and I'll put my hand up to DM at a store, and that's pretty much been the left of it. So yeah, I've 80% of what you just spoke about I hadn't even thought of, which it's sad that I don't have to, really. But
yeah, I mean, it's good. I feel for like personally, I have definitely struggled with both online gaming, being harassed just for being female, and for a long time I didn't play D&D or anything because I was just like, oh, I cannot deal with having to navigate that whole scenario. So recently, not just that I've now kind of know people, not just that it's online, but also that it's bigger now. Like there's a bigger market. There's more awareness of things like D&D as games to play. So I think it has allowed more people to connect and find people that they feel safe with to play with. Rather than you just going, well, there's only one group in my town playing, so I guess I'm playing with them, But yeah, I definitely am enjoying how much like just public awareness, general awareness that these games even exist. That yes, actually girls do play games. It's far more common now, I think, than when I first started playing.
My background is teaching, and that's something I've noticed through the school it's been a much bigger focus on that. Where I currently teach at a place where it's predominantly a boys environment, but we have girls in the school at times. I'm going to try not to talk too much about my real life work because real life work, but the change, even in the 10 or so years I've been teaching, towards, well, wait a minute, this is a space that's worthwhile. Our library just is built for people to come and engage in worlds. It's not over there's the comics where boys go, and over here's the other stuff. It's just like this is where you come to get into a world, and that's, I would say, almost 100% just the one or two staff up there who are just brilliant in that exact same space. Zenai girls on the internet aren't real.
I had to laugh.
Yeah. having played a few games with Zenai, I completely get the irony in the statement there. I don't need to pick up my 1994 phone and hand it back in person. Giggle Fairy, the vast majority of DMs you've met are women. That's cool.
That is cool. I wish that was... Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not actually sure that I've played a campaign other than like very small, like sort of one-shot sessions of any game really with the GM or DM as has been a woman. But that's great. Like,
No, I'm in the same boat. I've got to say that the challenge is out there, Australia. What about you, Brendo? Are you in the same boat there? Not having had the experience Giggle Fairy's had, because if so, that's the challenge. Let's see more. Next time we have a session 0 that's actually a session 0, we're all saying different stuff.
One shots and stuff like that with female GMs. But I've not done a full campaign, unfortunately. I usually end up being the GM for a lot of campaigns, so I just live that forever GM life all the time.
All right, folks, do you guys mind if Brock God jumps into the mic? Mic's in on the Discord. Are you both okay with that?
I'm okay with that. Yeah, jump
cool.
in.
Yeah, jump on.
Let's talk.
Jump on in, Book God. Join in the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing? Welcome.
Hey.
Thank you again thank you again for your input today. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, the one shots are good. It's been a long time since I've played D&D. I've just been going around helping people. I've just started up with my family like a couple months ago on this stuff, so it's good.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh, back to it.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you chose the stream to come back because your questions have been great, and as I say, it was right at the right time where we needed something to talk about while we were doing writing and clicking things. And you say you're playing a family game at the moment, Book God.
Yeah, every other Sunday we're doing a campaign. Me, my cousins, and like 2 or 3 other friends.
Fantastic.
That's cool.
No, that's really good. I've heard a lot more of that recently than I had, when I first started playing, 5 or 10 years ago. So, and are you DMing?
No, actually, I'm playing a warlock.
Oh, awesome. Well, in the theme of the evening, you better give us a quick rundown on this warlock. We gotta have a bit of backstory.
What's the character?
Yeah, we're playing like a kind of homebrew world where different areas are coming together, like a meeting of like dwarves and like warforged, not quite Sisters Mercy, but like, I don't know how to say this, like Doctors Without Borders. They're playing like the Warforged faction, and it's got like a floating island, and they just go around helping other factions, like if they need it. You got the dwarves. You got our group, which is basically Arthur's group and the Round Table, like a bunch of them. We just got randomly popped into this world a couple decades ago, so we're just going around finding random stuff. Like we just got done helping like guardian wolf beasts fight off a bunch of like infected worm hive mind parasites to save this town. So it was pretty good.
That sounds awesome. I love the ideas. It sounds like you've got big groups sort of clashing together. So that sounds really exciting.
That sounds fun.
Yep. It's good. It's not been going on that long. It's only been like 6-7 weeks, but it's pretty good. Well, pretty good.
Fantastic. Well, now that you're set in on the Discord and you're involved in the stream, please, whenever you come back, give us an update on the days when it works. I think the plan is that we're going to be playing our game when we eventually get to it every 2 weeks rather than every week on a Monday, which will give us all time for having real lives and board games nights and nights with family and wife nights and chores and staff meetings and all of the good and terrible real life things. And also enough time. I know, Giggle Fairy, I'm against real lives myself. But also give me time to think and plan.
I don't have one, so girls aren't real, right?
Yeah. Wow.
I've never met one.
Wait a minute. We're in Australia. I thought Australia wasn't real, and we were part of the.
It's all fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
Paid actors.
Well, you know what? I'm waiting for my check.
Oh man.
Well, Mondays are good for me because if I'm off Sunday, I work third shift, so I can be up Mondays.
Oh, of course. I'd imagine by your accent, at least, you're probably going to be sitting. What is it? Early morning at this stage? Is it for?
Yeah, it's like almost. It's like 9:00, 9:30ish.
Yeah. So if it were.
Yeah. Opposite side of the world.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I play Burning Wheel with some of my friends in America, and it's time difference is kind of crazy. When it's their nighttime, it's my morning. I'm like, well, good thing I've got nothing on today, because I don't exist.
That's it. when you don't exist, you can will yourself into games at any time of the day.
That's right. If I only If I only exist on the internet, then time is an illusion anyway.
What
No, but yeah, it's
was it? Time is a weird soup.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think there's
Timey wimey ball.
Exactly right.
I think I have 15-hour difference between me and my Burning Wheel game, the rest of the people.
Wow.
So that's yeah. I mean, it works, like
It's great
it's cool.
for catching up on American and European streams during the weekend because I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed because my back's hurting too much to lie down anymore. And while my wife slowly wakes up, I'll come in here and I'll put a game on and I'll watch some of the streamers that I enjoy. And they're still, like, the late ones are still going. So it works out pretty well on weekends. And
Yeah.
weekdays, the real life comes in and I have to go to bed early. So that is good, what we're heading towards now. We're up to 9 o'clock. And my usual plan, especially while we're not playing full games, is on a Monday, I stream 7 to 9. Once we start playing the game, that's going to be a bit loose because if we're in the middle of something, we can't just stop, tools down and wander off. I don't think. But I think we're probably a week or two away from that because we've still got, I think, 4 or 5 characters to sort. And hopefully, go on.
A good fun leave off on. Open up that list. It'll have a bunch of funny items. Just like pick out like 2 or 3 of them.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I gotta have a look now, just because you've said that.
Oh, wrong one. Let's drop down.
Not Reddit. Reddit is a dangerous rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Have you got it up as well, Brendo? Let's all choose one.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna do a random roll
Oh, yes.
to pick which one I like.
Beautiful.
Okay. Okay, cool.
All right. We're going to start at the top of the screen. Brendo, what did you choose? Or are you still going through?
I rolled just because I'm terrible at decisions.
Yeah. What did you roll, Kitty? That'll give Brendo time
I
to look
rolled
through
75, so I got Beholder's Amulet, a small red amulet that's covered in bumps and ridges. On attunement, an eye will pop out, and the user can see through it as long as it stays within 10 foot of them.
Awesome.
The inner eye looks beautiful and can be used as an arcane focus.
Very nice. Oh,
I like it. It's cool.
We've just lost
Whoa.
Brendo.
Hello? Oh, there we go. Cool.
There we go. You're back.
Hey.
Yeah, that's one of the foibles of just snipping from a screen of the videos on Discord is that if one of us drops out, they will move.
Yeah, it was so weird. I was, we were talking, we were having a great time, and then everything went silent. I'm like, and then I look at the stream, and I'm like, the stream is still going. You can still see my head bobbing around. My mic has died. Great. But I got a 68 on my D100 roll.
68.
Ooh.
Dr. Widershin's Discount Healing Potion. A standard healing potion with a god-awful taste, usually rancid leeches or rooster's feet.
Ooh.
A DC 10 constitution check is needed to down this without it coming back up.
Wonderful. All right, Zenai rolled us in the chat an 87. The Knuckles of Nock, a pair of sturdy ironwood knuckles. When activated, they grow into a portable ram, +4 to doors, and action to confirm them back to turn them backwards. I was just flowing through, and the one that caught my eye was initially the Cape of Chlorophyll, but I'm going with the Lazy Boomerang, a boomerang that deals 1d6 plus dex slashing. Once attuned, it will come back eventually. Awesome.
Yeah, these items are usually not overpowered. They're just fun magic items for the world of D&D.
That's it. And I know, was it Tasha's or was it Xanathar's that started to bring up a bunch of those, even lower than those ones, which all they do is something cosmetic.
Was it like the magical trinkets?
Yeah, they're like the cast off armor and the cup of water and that kind of stuff that just lasted forever.
The cloak of billowing
Yeah.
is my personal favorite.
That's it. Yeah, that's awesome. Just stuff that's there, so when you're in character and you're a heroic character, you can go, ha ha, and have the cape go off. It's just cool, fun little story stuff, which I got to say, Wizards of the Coast are doing really well at the moment, is rather than giving you hardcore mechanics and you must do the story this way, they're giving you a, hey, look, here's a thing. You could use that if you want. So I think they're realizing that homebrew is a big thing and they need to be able to segue their stuff into it, which works for me really well. The only problem is I then go, oh, I'm going to have one of those and one of those, one of those, one of those. The next thing I have to learn 6 books. Anyway, it is time for me to call the evening because these headphones I'm borrowing are giving me a headache. These are my wife's commuting headphones because my mate was up last night and we were playing Sea of Thieves, so he was playing in the next room. That was good fun. So, from here, we may or may not have a Wednesday stream this week for D&D, because I know that some of the other players were talking about doing it, and I don't really want to leave a whole week if people are excited about getting their characters rolled. So, I'm going to throw it out there on our private chat that if anyone wants to do a Wednesday, we'll just do another one of these on Wednesday. But other than that, we'll have to do some on the following Monday, because I think Arlene can only do every second Monday anyway, and I think it was the same for Anthony, so we might pop those two in there when they're available. If not, I will be playing this Wednesday something random, and then on Friday it is usually Sea of Thieves, but this Friday, because Icarus is launching their beta weekends, I'm probably going to split that. So Friday through Sunday is Icarus, and I'm going to jump in on their beta weekends on that, but it's very quickly becoming a bit of a plan to play Sea of Thieves with Brendo if he's available, and Zenai, and a few others. So anybody who's around who's got Sea of Thieves on Friday, if you want to dive in, let's do that.
We're definitely very competent pirates.
Absolutely rubbish. I mean, amazing pirates.
Yeah.
Dinra TV wants me to play Rust. I was watching Rust on someone's stream the other day, Dinra, but I don't have a copy of it yet. So if I can find it and it's included somewhere, I'm in. But if I have to pay real money for it, I will probably have to save up. Probably brownie points as much as actual money for that. What else was I going to say? Thank you so much, Brendo and Kitty, for joining. Thank you, Kitty, for popping into existence, especially for our stream. That must be why you are having those intermittent problems with the internet. It's really hard to cross across into reality.
Especially with video, it has to render my image every time.
And that takes a lot of CPU. Yeah, it was definitely Brendo that fired the cat out of the cannon. But no, Kitty, thank you for making it. I really appreciate it. Honestly, both you and Brendo, I could sit here and just let you guys talk for hours. It
was fun.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. I think the world is going to be great, and I think we're going to have fun.
This is going to be awesome. So,
and I'm liking the chat comments and questions is really good.
Absolutely.
It's nice to have that interactivity.
Ginny, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you all for engaging today. I'm using your Discord name there.
Yep.
Book God, thank you very much for popping in. Thank you for sharing your D&D stories and your questions. Everybody else who jumped in and wrote along or listened in or engaged in the chat, thank you so much. That is really the reason that I wanted to D&D online, is so we just had all of those different ideas coming and we could share in the creation, but in the living of the world. And once we get further on down the road, I want to be bringing you in to help me run NPCs. Someone like someone like Book God, if they were to jump into the chat, might be able to jump in to do recurring characters and stuff like that. You can all jump in to remind me when I forget an accent, which will happen all of the time, or forget what we were doing, because that will always happen. So that's sort of what I want out of this, is that we can have you guys riding along and involving yourself wherever you can. So thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on. Drop into the stream anytime it's on. But aside from that, I'll see you. I think I'm still trying out the ways that end.
Session 0.
That's absolutely. I will see you then, or I'll see you next time you're real, Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It might just
See
be
you guys.
voice. Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you all
Thanks.
later.
Bye.
All right, and there we go. 2 session zeros, no abject failures. Once again, thank you all so much. And it's my bedtime now. See you all later. Thank you.